Remember the scent of chalk dust, the squeak of a desk, and that eager anticipation when the bell signaled recess? Today, we're taking a journey back in time to a decade that reshaped America forever, the 1960s. We won't just recall the fashion and music. We'll step into the classrooms, hallways, and schoolyards to truly understand what it was like to go to school in those remarkable years. What was a 1960s school morning like? Probably quite similar to yours, but with some key differences. The morning alarm, breakfast with parents, and the journey to school. Whether walking, cycling, or riding that iconic yellow bus. In the classroom, wooden desks awaited us, strict but fair teachers, and of course a chalkboard covered in chalk. No computers, no smartphones, just textbooks, notebooks, and our own ingenuity. The teachers of the 1960s were true pillars of the community. They didn't just teach subjects, they were mentors, sometimes stern, but always dedicated. Lessons were structured and traditional. Math, English, history, science, the fundamentals were paramount. And of course, let's not forget home economics for girls and shop class for boys, skills considered vital for life. These lessons shaped us, not just intellectually, but practically. 1960s schools were known for their discipline. Rules were strict, and breaking them had consequences. From the dress code, which of course differed from that vibrant fashion we saw outside of school, to behavior in classrooms and hallways. No talking during lessons, no running in the corridors. It might have seemed restrictive, but many of us remember how it created order and respect for authority. These were times when the word of a teacher or principal was law. But not everything was strict and serious. Recess was a time for freedom and friendship. The schoolyard buzzed with life, games, gossip, and of course, first crushes. The school cafeteria? That's a story in itself. Remember those lunches? And of course, what we did after school. Sports, school clubs, music, meeting friends at the local diner. This was when we learned to socialize, make lifelong friends, and discover the world beyond the classroom. Beyond classes and recess, there were those special moments that left the most vivid memories. School dances and proms. These were evenings when the music of the Beatles or the Supremes filled the auditorium, and we, dressed in our best suits and dresses, danced and laughed and felt grown up. These were moments of pure magic, anticipation of the future, and saying goodbye to the carefree days of school. Unforgettable evenings where lifelong memories were made. The 60s brought not only new musical trends, but also a gradual loosening of strict norms. In the early 60s, school uniforms or strict dress codes were pervasive, but by the end of the decade, we saw more relaxed styles emerge. Longer hair for boys, skirts slightly above the knee for girls. Each change was a small revolution. And while gender roles were still quite traditional, it was in the 60s that the first tentative attempts by girls to excel in areas previously considered exclusively male began to appear. It was a harbinger of bigger changes. It's impossible to imagine 60s school life without sports competitions. Football, basketball, baseball, these weren't just games, they were a part of our identity. Every victory of the school team was a celebration for the entire community, and a loss was a topic of long discussions. Sports united us, taught us teamwork, perseverance, and how to experience both victories and defeats. These were moments of pure adrenaline, pride, and genuine competitive spirit that still evoke warm memories.
While school shaped us in the classroom, the world outside was being shaped by media. Television, becoming increasingly widespread, brought news of Vietnam, Martin Luther King Jr., and the moon landing directly into our living rooms. Music shows introduced us to new bands, and teen magazines dictated fashion and style. We were among the first generations to grow up under the constant influence of television, and it shaped our worldview, our dreams, and our conversations in school hallways.
But the 60s weren't solely a time of innocence. It was a decade of colossal social and political change. The Vietnam War, the struggle for civil rights, the women's rights movement, all permeated the school walls. As students, we began to be aware of the world around us, to debate, to question. These events shaped our worldview, sparking the first protests and discussions right in classrooms and school assemblies. School became not just a place of learning, but an arena for new ideas to form. The decade of the 60s in schools was a time of change, challenges, and becoming. We emerged from those classrooms with not just knowledge, but values that shaped us. Lessons in perseverance, friendship, the ability to question, but also respect for tradition. School in the 60s was more than just a place to get an education. It was the foundation upon which we built our lives. It was an experience that left an indelible mark on each of us.
We hope this journey into the school years of the 60s brought back cherished memories and perhaps even revealed something new about this unique time. Share your own school stories from the 60s in the comments below. We can't wait to read them. Thank you for joining us, and until next time on our historical journeys.
School in the 60s was a unique time. Strict, yet full of discovery, character forming, and leaving the warmest memories in our hearts. It was a time when the world was changing, and we were a part of it, sitting at those desks. May these memories always warm you. Share your stories, for our collective memory is the most precious thing we have. Until next time.